What a split two that was. What a split two that was. Time, and it looks like Noda is going to be your winner of this Portuguese Grand Prix. RoLoSky is your champion. Dżej Dżej splits the middle, gets past both drivers. I don't know that we can top what we just watched with Split 2. Welcome everybody to Split 1. My name is Bradley. I am your commentator here in FRL. We are in Season 4, the most exciting season possible, and we are here for Split 1. Split 1 is going to be the event. I cannot wait to bring this into you. We have a full grid. We do have a little bit of substitutions, and just looking at drivers, I will tell you right now, we're already scared of Ferrari. If you're not scared of Ferrari this season, you're crazy. You have Dżej Dżej, the time trial king, who is paired up with RoLoSky, who was your champion in Season 3. This is going to be a season for the record books, and I cannot wait to see what happens here. 14 races. We're bringing it all to you right here on Twitch. I cannot wait to see what happens. If you missed Split 2 with Saintex commentating with me, you need to go back and watch that after this. We'll have it on the YouTube channel. Link is down below. You can jump in the Discord if you're interested in joining some of the best F1 esports drivers we have to offer. 2 splits, beginner split, and then we have our advanced split here, which is going to be your Split 1. And then, of course, we have reserve drivers as well. If you're not comfortable and you just want to race when there's a spot to race, sign up as a reserve and just jump in and join. We would love to have you. This has been such an amazing league to be a part of, and I'm so glad to bring it to you here for Season 4. We've got the stream starting up here in a couple minutes. If you are new here, FRL runs 1 qualifying session and then a 50% race. I'm trying to get the drivers lists pulled up here so I can tell you who's running what. So it looks like 4 year check-ins here of drivers. The only change here is we have Frederick, who is replacing Pafixian and Aston Martin. Red Bull team, Saintex, who commentated with me in Split 2, and Mattey. That's going to be an exciting one to watch. You do have rookie drivers here in Mercedes. We're all excited to see what that brings for this Mercedes team. Nobody really knows what to expect, but we're expecting some fun things from Mercedes. Mercedes, the unluckiest team in FRL, and we're excited to see what happens. Of course, I'm supporting my boys Williams, which is Noda and Barthez. I love the Williams team. I love the Williams car. I'm really excited to see what they put together there. I already mentioned Ferrari, Dżej Dżej, and RoLoSky. They are scary together. Jack, who secured the constructors for Red Bull last season, is running an AlphaTauri. He is not a driver though this season. He's a reserve driver, and I'm so excited to see what he brings in. He is running with Hin Lok, who is a rookie here in AlphaTauri. Insidious and 29 Balu are going to be running together in Alfa Romeo. 80 Gamer, Crazy Boy, the Haas drivers stuck together for another season, and I'm so excited to see what they bring to the table. Bartosz and Pafixian are running an Aston Martin. Of course, I already mentioned that Frederick is going to be replacing Pafixian there for split for this race in Aston Martin. Of course, I am so excited to be able to bring this to you. It looks like qualifying is about to get underway. Split 2 ran a little bit longer than I think we were expecting, which happens sometimes if when you have a race like Split 2 where things are decided in the final lap. I mean, you have to be prepared to see chaos, and absolutely there was chaos, and I am so excited that I was able to witness that. If Split 2 is any sort of an indication for what Split 1 is about to bring us, I hope everyone is ready for a lot of action. So we're going to go ahead and jump in with the race here and get ready to see what we can put together. Getting right here for qualifying, and you can see no drivers really adamant to get out there and get going. Kind of impressive. I was expecting to see more drivers ready to go. It looks like the first people who are going to be out here is going to be Michalajek, and it looks like in front of him is Jack, perhaps? No, that is not Jack. That is Jack's teammate of Hin Lok. Hin Lok backing out of the session, though. Connection issues, potentially. I'm not sure. But that puts Michalajek to be the only driver out on track currently. And you can see back behind him, though, it looks like Jack is going to go through. Jack having heartbreak in Split 2, getting spun in a 3-wide situation going through the second DRS zone. He was trying to make a pass for the lead, and he got squeezed by another Aston Martin driver and a Red Bull driver. Threw him into the wall. How the Aston Martin survived, I don't know. But we're here. We're going. It's season 4. It's round 1. I've been missing FRL. I hope everybody had a great holiday. Great few weeks off. I know all of us here at FRL, while we did take a few weeks and kind of relax and hang out, we still were working hard behind the scenes. Split 2 got set up. There were a lot of rule changes during the off season as well, which helped put things together and helped make sure that we have things strong. Jack is out on medium tires. I feel like that's good to mention here. And you can see, if you look down in the bottom right at the mini-map, a lot of drivers getting out on track. We're going to stick with Michalajek here as he starts his first flying lap, and he is coming straight out of the corner, not messing around. DRS wide open here as he crosses the start-finish line. And you can see on his right-hand side, he is going to have traffic to deal with there. Doesn't look like traffic at the moment is going to be an issue, but we'll see how traffic treats him as he gets into the middle part of his lap. Second sector last race was really brutal for some people. All of our DNFs we saw come through the second sector, and it was horrible to see. It was heartbreaking to see Spaghetti Mafia was leading for a while, and then he spun out, and it looks like now that is going to be Michalajek trying to put in a lap, and that is his lap over. Jack starting on a flying lap now. I need to change one thing in order to make sure I give you the best stream possible. Jack coming through here. Medium tires, it looks like this is going to be a banker lap for him. Jack is going to be warmed up. So is Michalajek there. Those drivers are going to be very warmed up for this, especially after last lap. Syntax not able to get practice in before, unfortunate for him, which is going to be exciting to see how that affects him. He did get to watch all the action on the side and commentate, but he didn't get to put laps in. Jack, of course, running half of the second split, so it's going to be exciting to see what goes through. I can see we have RoLoSky supporters in the chat currently, and I am so excited to see what RoLoSky puts together to defend his championship here. Going over to Ferrari, that was exciting. Dżej Dżej and RoLoSky signing together, that is what we call a power move, if there was one to see. And you can see Ferrari are following each other here through the second split going around. Dżej Dżej, of course, our time trial master, he does not mess around with track limits. It looks like RoLoSky backing out of his lap. Dżej Dżej putting in a purple middle sector. Coming around the stadium section. This is my favorite section of any track in F1. Well, I'll lie. Australia has my favorite section in the middle sector, the left-right chicane, but the stadium section is definitely up there tied with it. And Dżej Dżej sets a 1:14.6, a little bit off the pace, but we know Dżej Dżej can put together a stronger time, but that is a very competitive way to start off your session. Of course, we know, I believe the pole lap was a 1:15.1 in Split 2, so Dżej Dżej setting that up front. Graxent in the Alpine puts in a time 7/10 slower with a 1:15.4. Drivers are going to have to up their game a lot going through early. Excuse me. Debe sets in a 1:15.7. More drivers starting to come across. As we look through Jack going through the middle sector, it looks like that is going to be Barthez coming around to set his lap, and he is going to put in a 1:16.8. Lots of these early laps, just bankers going through. The drivers are going to hopefully be able to put in 3 laps. Maglajak putting in a 1:16.1 right behind Barthez, though. A very strong time. 29 Balu is the only driver out on an out lap, so everybody currently flying through or back into the pits. We'll stick here with 29 Balu and see what he can put together. 29 Balu is a rookie here for the season, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. If you're new to FRL, they run one 18-minute qualifying session. We don't run the full quali, and then a 50% race. Weather, luck. There's so many things that play into this league, and I'm dying to see what happens here. As Żelazny puts in a 1:14.68, only 5 milliseconds up on Dżej Dżej. Competitive. Żelazny, a reserve driver last season, ran 1 race in China and was one of the, I believe he was the only reserve driver to put points on the board at all last season. So Żelazny going to be very competitive coming through. What an impressive lap from him. We're sticking here with 29 Balu, who is going through the second sector. I said it earlier, second sector has been brutal for some drivers, and it looks like it's going to be brutal there for 29 Balu as he invalidates his lap time trying to push through. We see behind him RoLoSky, who is on a second flying lap after hitting track limits on his first lap. RoLoSky, oh, barely staying in track limits. I don't think RoLoSky is happy with the setup of his car. Backing out of this lap. RoLoSky not happy at all. It looks like Tazo in 4th place. I believe he just put in a 1:15.3 and put himself into 4th. Strong lap. We can see most drivers going back into the pits here. Jack on a 1:16.6. Again, not the pace I'm expecting out of Jack after last season, competing with RoLoSky all season. Just not the pace I'm expecting out of him, as it looks like that is 29 Balu going past him there. I don't believe 29 is going to go on another push lap. We'll see here what his plan is. I don't think he will, but he could be. So we'll stick on board with him and enjoy that. As we can see, Dżej Dżej is back on another outlap. We have a yellow flag in Sector 1. I don't see anything that would be causing a yellow flag, though. Dżej Dżej here feeding into the second sector. And I want you to just watch how tight on track limits these drivers are. The inside of their wheel is touching that white line, and it is so beautiful to see. I love this. I love seeing how hard these drivers push. Do have information that there's going to be rain in the race. FRL and weather. I love it. I love this. That means that this is going to be so important for the drivers to qualify strong here, because we saw just how tricky it was going through. Dżej Dżej on the flying lap here. It looks like he hit track limits in the second sector. You can see he is riding the white line, though, getting things going. He's going to have traffic on the right-hand side. It looks like that's the Williams drivers. They're going to just fall in behind him, though. They know he's on a flying lap. It looks like they're going to respect him there. Dżej Dżej just barely kept it in track limits there. I love how hard he pushes. It's sad when they fall through on their laps, but it's so nice to see how hard they can push. As he purples Sector 1, going into Sector 2. Sector 2 is going to be the dangerous point. This is his make or break for the lap, though, and I'm nervous and excited at the same time. Let's watch him fly through Sector 2 here. Look at that hard cut to the left. Barely stays in on the right. He had to lift out of the throttle a little bit there in order to keep it together, and he cuts just a little bit hard. He's sliding, and he stays in. A little bit of a lift there, and he is already into 8th gear DRS open, flying. Look at him braking as late as he can, cutting that as wide as he can, hitting the apex, coming into the stadium here. Coming around and underneath the stadium. Around the final corner, he holds on to traction. Oh, no, he doesn't. He spins right there, and he is so lucky that all that cost him was his front wing. Dżej Dżej going for his second push lap and not able to hold it. Dżej Dżej with a 1:14.6 on the board, trying, was so on pace, purple sectors, and was not able to go. So Żelazny and the Mercedes trying to beat the Mercedes curves here. Toto would be proud. And Żelazny on his second timed lap here in this qualifying session. Just a few more minutes to go, but it looks like he may have to contend with a lot of traffic, and it looks like he's going to back out of it, potentially. I can't tell if he's staying in. He's letting the McLaren of True Hero go past him there. True Hero on a flying lap here. Noda has DNF'd in the third sector in the stadium section. It looks like we're not going to be able to tag along with it. Tag along and see what happened there, but Noda's spinning. It looks like going into the stadium section and is now DNF'd. We're going to see if we can jump on board because I want to see exactly what happened. Barthez purple there in the middle sector, coming around for the final sector. Can Barthez put in a more competitive lap than the 1:16.8 he has on the board? Can he jump up there with Żelazny, Dżej Dżej, and RoLoSky and compete with them? Coming out of the final corner, he's looking very, very strong on his lap. Coming around 1:14, 1:15. He puts in a 1:16.1, puts him up into 10th place, but not high enough in order to compete with the big dogs. Ferrari, the scary team of the season. As I've said, everybody's nervous. Tazo here in the Mercedes is going to be starting a flying lap for himself. We're going to tag along here and watch what happens. It looks like he is behind True Hero, and it looks like he may be giving a tow to his teammate here of Żelazny. We'll see exactly what their plan is. Żelazny just sticking right behind him, and it looks like Tazo is going to abort his lap in order to give his teammate Żelazny a little bit better of a run. Purple through Sector 1 is Żelazny. He already set a competitive time, and he's trying to set an even stronger one. Coming through middle sector, Żelazny forcing his car to comply and do what he wants, but it looks like traffic is going to be an issue here. He gets in the dirty air, and that's going to invalidate his lap, and it looks like that is True Hero who he was behind. True Hero diving out of the way there. Both of them aborting their laps, unfortunately, and that is going to cost both of them. Compromising strategy there. I can't tell exactly what the Mercedes plan is. I keep sticking on board with them, but I cannot tell what their plan is going through. Saintex was on a lap, but invalidated his. Graxent was on a lap and invalidated his, so he is back into the pits. Tazo is out on a lap. Again, I can't tell what their strategy is here. And it looks like Barthez has an invalidated lap as well. So it looks like this could be the point where a lot of drivers are diving back through. Jack threw himself up into P5 while we were looking around to see what was going on. So Jack deciding to stamp back into place here and see exactly what happens. And see if he can hold himself back up and recover from what happened to him there in Split 2. Bartosz is going through on a flying lap, and you can see first sector, he is holding it together. Little bit of a slide there going into the second sector. Second sector's been a killer, and it looks like he is just flinging his car around, forcing it to be compliant. Great traction in the middle sector there from Bartosz. And it looks like he's invalidated his lap here in the stadium section, so that is going to be his lap over Jack behind him, I believe, diving into the pits there. Yep, and we will tag on board here. It looks like not a lot of people are still out on track here. It looks like Mikolajczak is coming around, setting a time, and he is going to set himself into P10 with a 1:15.5, knocking Noda down to P11. Only driver with no time on the board is 29 Balu. 3 minutes left here in quali, and you can see Żelazny is going to be out here to try to set a final lap. Only 5 milliseconds separates him and Dżej Dżej, so really excited to see what happens and if that gap can get closed. So many drivers out here on track in order to set final times. It looks like Dżej Dżej is out on a flying lap here. He's going to have to contend with traffic, but it looks like everybody's just going to dive out of his way. Going through second chicane. He still has a Haas in front of him, but I believe the Haas driver should get out of his way here in the middle sector. Mattey has retired from the session after a spin. It looks like Mattey spun out in the final corner, potentially. I'm not for sure where that was. And the Haas driver does get out of Dżej Dżej's way there in the second sector. And Dżej Dżej has set up purple middle sector. Coming through the stadium session, he is looking glorious coming around. Final corner here. Is he going to be able to improve and possibly put himself on pole position and bring a challenge? And it looks like he doesn't. Even though he purpled the middle sector, he can only go up to P5. Well, look who's behind him there. It looks like the Haas driver of 80 Gamer is behind him. 80 Gamer was not able to improve on his time. And it looks like behind that was True Hero, who could not improve. Behind that is Crazy Boy, who I believe is just starting his lap. Żelazny is out on a flyer currently. He's purpled the first sector and improved on himself. We'll see what he can do here in the middle sector. Does he have the compliance in his car in order to get through these middle sector left, rights, left, rights? Left, right. Oh, a little swirly on the curbs there. A little loose coming through. Is he... He's given it all. Minute left here in qualifying. He knows that this lap is going to be the make or break, and Dżej Dżej knows that as well, as Dżej Dżej just started his flying lap. But Żelazny is going to purple in the middle sector. We'll see what time Żelazny can put through. Dżej Dżej has just started his lap. Żelazny coming around out of the stadium section. Final chance he's going to get to put in a lap is, I don't believe he'll want to do a double push here, but he could, but I don't think he'll improve. As Żelazny sets a 1:14.434 and opens up that gap on Dżej Dżej. We're going to stick with Dżej Dżej through his lap. Dżej Dżej through the first sector is up 3/10, but cannot purple. We'll see what he can bring into the middle sector here as he goes through the middle sector, left, right, snake section. And let's see if Dżej Dżej has the compliance of his car in order to try to put himself on pole. And it looks like he had to back out of it there. I don't think that Dżej Dżej is able to put it together. RoLoSky got past Dżej Dżej while we're watching this. So RoLoSky put in a 1:14.61. Dżej Dżej coming through final sector. I don't think he has it. I believe we just saw Graxent spinning in the middle sector here as well. Yep, Graxent spun in the middle sector, but we're going to jump back here with Dżej Dżej. Graxent's back away, so that shouldn't be an issue there. Dżej Dżej coming through. Dżej Dżej cannot improve, so Dżej Dżej just going to box, and that is his qualifying over. Final laps being put in here. RoLoSky setting a final time. Żelazny has put in his final time. Jack not able to improve, holding on to P4. Tazo on a final flyer here, not able to improve either potentially. Żelazny has secured his place, it looks like, in pole, unless somebody can bring it around to him. 29 Balu has invalidated his lap. Insidious here coming around for the final corner. Graxent has retired out of the session. Insidious comes around for his final lap. He improves to P18, but not enough to get himself further up into the field. It looks like one of the Haas's is spun in the middle sector, so that is going to be them over. Coming across now, I believe Saintex is coming around the final time, and it looks like Barthez up into P11. Mattey is in P16. It looks like Saintex got a little bit loose there. Saintex holds on to a 7th place. So it looks like, unless somebody improves that I'm not expecting, Tazo isn't improving in the middle sector. He's going to be the last driver to come across there. Mattey in the Red Bull invalidated his lap. And it looks like Jack there in P4 is putting together a final time. His best time is a 1:14.724. Keeps himself in 4th place but can't improve. So it looks like this is going to be your qualifying over for Split 1 here in Round 1 at Mexico, Season 4. Żelazny, the quote-unquote rookie, putting in such a competitive time up front and throwing himself in here. in setting a statement early. RoLoSky, the championship leader, has a 1:14.6 and has set his mark as well. Ferrari proving that they are looking to put Tifosi back on top, and they do not care. Jack, the reserve driver now, the Constructors Champion defender, proving why Honda Power is still scared to deal with. But Mercedes in P1, going to be interesting to see exactly what they can open up there. Congratulations, Żelazny, on your first pole in FRL. You have to wonder, is Dżej Dżej more geared towards the race? We know rain's going to come in. Is Dżej Dżej a little bit more geared towards that? Therefore, his setup might be slightly compromised for qualifying? Or is it that Żelazny has just decided to push and try to throw things together? I'm not sure in terms of setup, but I wouldn't be surprised if Dżej Dżej has went for a little bit more of a wet weather setup. Would absolutely make sense to me there if he has. Says that Hin Lok is on an outlap. I believe this might be a case of desync, but I'm not sure here. Yeah, I believe that this is glitched out. We love the F1 race. I'm going to jump over so you can see my face. We love this game. We're going to stick on board with Hin Lok, though, because it's fun to watch his laps. I'm not going to lie. He's trying. Desync is a beautiful thing. That would explain why other drivers are still on the track, too, for desync. What? Why is he going backwards? I love this game. Alright, so after those couple minutes of chaos here, so Żelazny in P1 with a 1:14.4, RoLoSky in P2 with a 1:14.6, Dżej Dżej with a 1:14.6 as well. So Ferrari going to be competitive to watch here. Jack in the AlphaTauri in 4th place. Tazo, Debe, Saintex, Hin Lok, Graxent, 29 Balu, Barthez, Mikolajczak, and True Hero rounding out your top of the grid. I'm so excited to see what this race brings. But for now, I'm going to leave you with a time trial filler here of Dżej Dżej, and then we'll jump back for a wet race here in just a minute. All right, interesting to see that even though the track looks wet, everybody is still starting on soft compound tires, with the exception of Mattey, who's starting on mediums. I didn't expect any of this, and it looks like Żelazny has spun there, going through the second chicane. So I'm not sure if the drivers are meaning to start on softs here in the rain, or if we just have another game bug. Strategy will be interesting. We'll see if they stay on softs or if they go to inners, or if this rain gets worse. Because you can't pit and change tires on formation lap in the game, so I'm not sure what the plan is at the moment, but we can see Żelazny, RoLoSky, all of the drivers backing up here in the second sector, but there's a massive gap back to the middle of the field, and everything's so shuffled up right now. You can see Jack spinning through the second sector, getting disqualified from the formation lap, it looks like, because he spun. I don't know exactly what's happening here. But everybody is on dry compound tires on a wet track, so turn one should be absolute carnage. And I kind of can't wait to see it. Split 2 turn 1 was exciting, so this should be fun as well. Żelazny already formed himself back up on the grid. RoLoSky right behind that, and then Dżej Dżej right behind that. I'm nervous, I'm not going to lie. I am very nervous for this first lap. I would love to know what the drivers are reporting in terms of track condition. So it looks like we're waiting on the last driver to form up on the grid here. And it looks like he is there, so we're going to get ready. Everyone now locked in, and it looks like we are going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights, and we are lights out and underway. We are for split 1 here of round 1 of FRL, and it looks like RoLoSky gets a absolute banger of a start. Żelazny has a horrible one. Dżej Dżej spins off of the start line, absolutely detrimental for the Ferrari driver, but RoLoSky is going to be in the lead here, and it looks like Żelazny is going to be trying to go. They're 4 wide back in the mid-pack here. Absolute carnage, turn 1, and it looks like Miguelajak gets a little bit of drifting in. There's still 3 wide coming through this first chicane. Looks like RoLoSky is going to benefit here. Is the track too wet for these dry compound tires? I'm not for sure, but we're still 2 wide, 3 wide here in the middle of the pack here. Miguelajak and Balu battling it out, and it looks like Balu is going to have a dive down the inside. Outbreaks himself, though, and it looks like Miguelajak is able to hold the position there. Syntax up into P6, Hin Lok in P5, Graxent 4th, and it looks like Jack has had a horrible start and has dropped back into P15. Horrendous to see from him. Meanwhile, Żelazny and Tazo are up in 2-3. Mercedes decided to stop in and dominate. Toto is going to be so happy. RoLoSky, though, doing the Tifosi proud in first place here, running away. Your championship leader absolutely does not care. He has decided he's going to take off and hold on to his championship and try to set it early and show the reason why he won last season. Mattey on those medium compound tires does not look like he's working out, but the big loser of everything so far has to be Dżej Dżej there in P20. No front wing, and it looks like he is going to just continue to drop back, and that's not going to be what he wanted to see. It looks like Noda and Crazy Boy are having a little bit of a battle here, and this is exciting to see for them. Crazy Boy diving on the slipstream, going to look a little bit up the inside here, and it looks like he's back in the slipstream as he wasn't close enough, and it looks like he's thinking about a dive, thought about it a little too long, wasn't close enough. RoLoSky building up a 1-second gap here after the first lap. Tazo is 7/10 back on his teammate Żelazny, and it looks like Graxent 1.8 seconds back. He has the AlphaTauri of Hin Lok right there behind him. Tight battles all the way around. And it looks like back in the back, that is going to be Syntax, who has just spun. And that is going to be unfortunate for the Red Bull driver, and that is going to be his race done, and that is going to bring a VSC. Sorry, his race is not done. He's not out. That is just going to be a VSC and just be detrimental for that Red Bull driver. Pit stop strategy, we talked about it last race with same text. 2 stop, soft, soft, medium, soft, medium, medium. It's anyone's guess what you're going to do here with the weather. If it gets wetter, they're going to have to get on intermediates. If it stays dry, like stays damp but dry enough they can stay on soft tires, then it's kind of anyone's guess. We saw Vixie last race stay on his hard tires for 23 laps, and it seemed to pay off for him. So that could be a strategy that we could see some of these drivers implement after watching Split 2, is going to hard tires and running a long stint. VSC have no idea when it's going to end, so drivers are going to try to hold on here and try to get as close to someone as they can. The big battle I'm going to look at here when it ends is going to be Noda, Balu, and Crazy Boy here. Tight gap and VSC has ended, and it looks like that was a good battle to take a look at here. They're all right behind each other. Coming through, it looks like Noda and Balu are going to have a tight battle here in the second sector. They take a peek at each other, but it looks like Noda isn't close enough to actually make something stick. The second sector has been detrimental, and you can see Noda has to get out of the throttle there as he just about spins. You can see in front of him, Michalajak has gotten a little swirly as well. Look at Graxent, though. Graxent and Hin Lok are having a tight battle here with each other, and then Michalajak and Balu are having a tight battle. If you're wondering about my pronunciation, I'm American, so some of these Polish letters and words are a little bit weird for me, but I'm trying as hard as I can, I promise. Going through here onto the straight stretch here for lap 4. No safety cars yet. And you can see Graxent going to go right around the outside, or Hin Lok going to go right around the outside of Graxent there with the help of DRS. But it looks like Graxent is going to have a peek up the inside and try again. But it looks like 29 Balu here was trying to have a peek, and that's going to open up the door for Noda as he tried to get around Michalajak but wasn't able to, and that opens up a door for Noda. Noda has DRS open. Noda's trying to have a peek, but just isn't close enough. But it looks like Balu is close enough on Michalajak, but tried to stick his nose up the inside. Could not hold anything together. Ooh, look at Balu, how close he gets there in the corner. But he has a poor exit, which may open up the door here for Noda if Noda can get a little bit closer and take advantage. And Balu runs way off track there, trying to get some sort of pace. Oh, and you can see Michalajak getting real loose and having to back out of it, and that is going to be horrible for him, but that's also going to open up the door for Noda. So Noda is going to dive there, and you can see coming into the corner, Balu on the inside, Noda on the outside, and it looks like Michalajak is trying to come back on Noda, but Noda holds on to the position here going into the stadium section. Noda up into P7, Michalajak losing 2 positions there. Looking up front, though, RoLoSky in first place only has 7/10 on Żelazny. And it's so interesting to see what he's trying to do here. Żelazny has ultimate pace, but with the weather, and you can see a large lockup from RoLoSky there, which is going to help Żelazny close the door. Now the gap down to 7/10. Just not close enough at the moment. But give it a couple laps, and I believe Żelazny can put in some pace and try to put things together. Middle sector, as it gets wetter, if these drivers don't make the right call on tires, it could be horrible. And you can see Żelazny spinning a little bit coming through. It is almost intermediate conditions. Second sector backing way out. You can see just how ginger he is on the throttle, and he's down a gear. So gentle on the run through of the second sector. DRS is still enabled, though, which means that the stewards don't believe it is time for intermediate tires. The DRS getting disabled is usually the time where you know it is time to switch. It looks like here all the gaps have started to open up. around half a second to a second, a couple seconds between each driver. Noda putting in a fastest lap with a 1:23.9. You can tell the conditions are affecting these drivers a lot, and they're down in pace just a bit. Coming through here into the second chicane that starts the second sector. Żelazny 6/10 down now. He's closed the gap just a little bit, it looks like, but he's not closed it enough in order to get close enough to RoLoSky in order to put a move together. Amazing driving, though, from the Mercedes driver. Wonderful run through the second sector there. Nothing to note at all. Half a second around for Żelazny. Coming into the stadium, he shut the gap a little bit more. RoLoSky is going to have a good run out of these final couple of corners, and it looks like RoLoSky locks up a little bit more. But it looks like Żelazny has a little bit worse of a run going through, so the gap's now opened up back to 7/10 when it was half a second. Żelazny is going to have to figure out a little bit into the stadium section. Gap down to 4/10, gap down to 3/10, gap down to 2/10. So close. He's so close, but he's so much closer now into the second DRS run. But he gets a little bit loose there and has a little snap of oversteer. And that is going to affect him there. The gap now opens up again to 6/10. And while he does have DRS running through here, it's not going to be enough for him to close it up. We're going to jump back with Noda, though. 2.5 on him and Graxent. Noda looking to dive around one way or the other. Noda just going to tug into the slipstream here of Graxent. Going through the dirty air is going to make it so hard for him to follow. Coming through the second chicane, the double right-hander going into the second S's, the second sector S's. And Noda going to back out a little bit here. He's going to look for Graxent to make some sort of mistake, which it looks like Graxent may have, but Noda slides just a little bit just as well. We've seen that corner take out so many drivers at this point. Still DRS, and if we jump back here with the next group of cars, Dzej, Michalajak, Jack, and Crazy Boy all right around each other here. And you can see Jack trying to have a move on Dzej. Michalajak is very loose going through. Dzej getting a great run through the stadium section, but he's still got Jack a little ways behind him now. Jack not able to keep up just as good through the stadium section. Michalajak is very swirly coming out, but Dzej backing out, trying to hold on to traction. Jack is going to be competitive, though, coming through here. DRS open, but Dzej has DRS on Michalajak as well. Will we see a double pass going through? Michalajak goes defensive on the inside here. Jack is going to push his luck and possibly put 3 wide again, just like he did in split 2. He goes around the outside, which is going to turn into the inside here into the left-hander, and it looks like Jack is able to follow Dzej around Michalajak, and that is going to be it. 2 positions down in just 1 straightaway. And we'll see if Jack and Dzej can have a little bit of a battle here as well. Graxent still only about half a second behind on Noda, looking to push and get any sort of advantage to get around him, but it doesn't look like he's going to have the ultimate pace to go through. Looking back here at the Ferrari of Dżej Dżej. Dżej Dżej, after that horrible start, down in 17th place. I don't know why he's showing up as an Alpine for me. I don't know if I've had a moment of desync or what's happening here. Okay, there we go. That's better. Yep, Dżej Dżej down in 17th place after his start. And it looks like possibly Mattey just had a major spin. Second sector taking out another driver. Luckily, he's able to get away with it and just has serious front wing damage, but no VSC, nothing going through. It looks like he spun far enough off the track that there's nothing to worry about. Going on to lap 9 here of 36 here in your split 1. Insidious making a double pass on Barthez and Crazy Boy and Michalajak, who are down in the pits. RoLoSky up in first place, trying to build a gap. He's still got Żelazny, but Żelazny is starting to drop back a little bit, down 8/10. almost a second. He's almost out of DRS range. I wonder if there's a little bit of tire conservation and tire degradation coming into play. If RoLoSky makes a major mistake in the second sector, that's going to open up the door for Żelazny to try to go through here in the second set of S's. But it looks like Żelazny wasn't able to take advantage, but that means RoLoSky is going to be in major trouble coming through the main straight. You can see RoLoSky is trying to conserve all the ERS he can, as he knows that he's going to be challenged here going into the main straight. Coming around the final corner, Żelazny now down to half a second. Żelazny can't keep up through the stadium section, and I believe that's going to be detrimental for him. Gap still 5.5 seconds, or 5.5 tenths. Going through DRS open here for Żelazny. He is going to look, is he going to have enough of a run? Down to 3 tenths, 2 tenths. He thought about having a late break, and it looks like RoLoSky with a little bit of tire drag there on that driver's side, or on the right-hand side. He's pushing as hard as he absolutely can. And Żelazny is going to have DRS again, and it looks like lap traffic is about to become a little bit of an issue. Tazo 2.2 seconds back. We're going to jump back a little bit here with Noda, and it looks like Noda might have a run here on Graxent through the second DRS zone. But Graxent has the DRS, as it looks like he just got past Noda after the DRS detection line. So Noda down into 6th place now, and it looks like this is going to be your closest battle on track, as Żelazny has been behind RoLoSky for several laps now and has not been able to convert. We saw RoLoSky have a major mistake there in the second sector, but Żelazny was not able to convert on it. Coming around the front stretch here. Gap now to almost a second after Żelazny with a poor stadium section. Gaining, gaining, gaining. He's going to have another strong lap. He's going to have to push in order to catch up here to RoLoSky. Looking back, though, Noda and Graxent having a very tight battle. 10th of a second. Noda's going to dive here on the inside. Is he able to hold it there? He was not. He had to back out of it as Graxent just shut the door on the apex. Barthez now out of the session. Barthez spinning, coming out of the stadium section, it looks like, onto the main straight, and it looks like that is a safety car deployed. You can see Mattey really thought about pitting there, but Mattey deciding not to. And you can see Barthez's car there on the main straight just absolutely destroyed, and that is going to be your first safety car here in FRL in your split 1, round 1, season 4. The first safety car coming out here on lap 11 of 36. Taking a look here at strategy, RoLoSky into the pits, Żelazny into the pits, Tazo into the pits, Hin Lok into the pits, Graxent into the pits, Noda into the pits. Just everybody diving in, and it's very interesting to see that they're deciding to do this now. RoLoSky and Żelazny side by side, going to be very close together here, and Żelazny, RoLoSky, Tazo, all the drivers having the same thought to go off of softs and go onto mediums. Noda going onto a set of hards, though. He's going to attempt a one-stop strategy. We'll see how that works for him. It looks like the track is starting to dry up, though, and that means that dry compound tires are going to be the way that you want to go after that wet start, where all the drivers decided to stay out on soft tire, or on their dry compound tires, when it was possibly at some point intermediate conditions, but it never seemed to truly get wet enough for intermediate conditions. Looking at the big gains and losses here, of everything. It looks like the biggest losers, Dżej Dżej and Saintex, both down 12 positions. Biggest gain so far is Noda, who is up 8. RoLoSky is up. Żelazny is down. Żelazny, after that amazing flying lap there in quali, still up and competitive. So it looks like in early hours, he is going to be the extreme competitor, RoLoSky. Which is going to be really exciting to watch, to see who is able to hold it and keep their ways together. Tazo also very competitive with Mercedes here. The Mercedes driver's running 2-3, and we've talked about the bad luck that Mercedes has here in FRL, but we saw it come to fruition in Split 2. Here in Split 1, it looks like Mercedes deciding to sign 2 fresh rookies is going to pay off for them here. I'd imagine we have at least one more lap of safety car here, and you can see the safety car going extremely slow through the first section. I'm not sure. Mattey, the only driver that hasn't stopped yet, and he is still on a set of mediums, so he's still really in a good position. But Mattey has 9 seconds of penalties here, and so does Mikolajczak. 9 seconds of penalties. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. Looking at fastest laps, 80 Gamer with a 1:21.9. I don't know how I missed that, but that's an amazing time from him. And he's on another set of softs, so that'll be exciting to see what he brings in. Looks like safety car is going to be staying out another lap unless they call it in right here at the stadium section, which would be an extremely late call. It doesn't look like they're going to. It looks like they're still waiting on drivers to catch up here and reform the pack. You see, it looks like Bartosz back in the back still trying to form up, coming through the second sector. So we've got at least one more lap of safety car here. You can see RoLoSky is fighting to get heat into his tires. Every driver fighting to get heat into their tires. Look at the amount of swerving back and forth these drivers are doing, especially those on mediums, trying to build up the heat to make sure that they can get the runoff here going into turn 1. Again, if you're just joining us, lap 14 of 36. First safety car out after Barthez spinning and DNFing coming out of the last corner. Looks like he just lost a little bit of traction on what was a wet track that it looks like has quickly dried out here in your Mexico GP. Middle sector. This middle sector makes me nervous, even when they're going through it under safety car. And I know they're going slow under safety car, but it's just this middle sector has been so brutal that it's very nerve-wracking, especially this first lap when they're on cooler tires. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do here. And safety car is going to be in this lap, which means RoLoSky is going to take control of the field, and he's going to slow them way down through the stadium section because he knows he's going to have to get a run on Żelazny. Otherwise, Żelazny is going to have some extreme pace. Of course, no DRS for 2 laps after safety car, and it looks like RoLoSky is going to catch him off guard there, but it looks like RoLoSky slows right back down, which I don't think they were expecting So now RoLoSky is going to dive off, and it looks like Żelazny was not ready for that. So we're going to be back underway, and it looks like RoLoSky swerving just a little bit, trying to break the slipstream. And it looks like going through middle of the pack is going to be where it's getting exciting here, because it looks like Balu, Noda, Graxent, and Hin Lok are all getting very, very competitive with each other there. But it looks like Jack has desynced. So even though his car, or maybe not Jack, who is that is desynced? It looks like Syntax is desynced there in the Red Bull, or disconnected one. So looking there, 29 Balu trying to battle out. And it looks like Hin Lok is having a little bit of an issue as well. Jack right behind him there. And you can see back in the mid-pack, Mattey and Crazy Boy having a good battle together. Crazy Boy is right behind Insidious trying to make a pass. And it looks like Insidious gets a little swirly there and loses it. Crazy Boy getting a little loose, though, in the middle sector again. RoLoSky, though, in front. Oh, look at this 4-wide battle right here in the back. Insidious and everyone involved there. That is brutal. You can see Insidious just bouncing off of Mattey. Oh, and they are pushing each other so hard. 3 wide coming through there. And then Michalajak is still right there, and Insidious is trying to get past him. And it looks like that's going to open up the door for Dżej Dżej as well, because Insidious is going to have to pit due to front wing damage. RoLoSky 8/10 up on Żelazny, but Balu is getting past Tazo. Hin Lok and Jack are inverting positions, it looks like. Going through the first chicane there, it looks like Hin Lok and Jack are going to be inverting positions. Graxent in 8th place, trying to have a run here on both of the AlphaTauri drivers, and it looks like he's got the gap down to about half a second. And it looks like Tazo is just half a second off of Balu, now up to 8/10 as they come through the slow double right-hander into the S's. Looking here as they get the run through the S's, it looks like everybody's getting through cleanly at the moment. I don't see anything crazy going through. Looking at Deve, who's only about half a second off of Graxent, who's only half a second back. It looks like all these drivers are very close to each other. The stadium section is going to be the opportune moment to make a pass for most of these drivers. RoLoSky diving around here, the final corner. Żelazny 7/10 behind him. Will Żelazny be able to make a pass here going down the main straight as DRS is re-enabled? He won't have DRS in this occasion, but he will have DRS for the next DRS zone. Going through Graxent, only 2/10 off here on Hin Lok, and he's going to dive on the right and look on the inside, and he's going to stick his nose in there, not be able to convert. Is he going to try a little bit of a switchback? He is not. He's just going to dive right behind Hin Lok and then hold on to the position and keep going here. Something's happening with a little bit of a disconnect here. We've got a lot of crazy things happening on the leaderboard. Just ignore that here at the moment as there's some crazy stuff. You can see it looks like Graxent and Hin Lok come together there. Yellow flag in Sector 2. It looks like that may be for Bartosz, who is spun. Actually, it's not going to be for Bartosz. It's going to be for Michalajak, who is spun, and that's going to drop him down into 16th place. We're going to jump back up here, though, with RoLoSky and Żelazny. As Żelazny, it seems, has had a better run out of the stadium section. 7/10 back. Blue flags flying here. I'm not for sure who those are flying for, though. 6/10 DRS is open. You can see the sun is starting to shine and make this a gorgeous Mexico Grand Prix. And you can see Żelazny is gaining. He's going to go to the left. RoLoSky's going to make a late defensive move there and park on the apex. That was a little bit of a late move there, but nothing too bad as Żelazny was not close enough. RoLoSky's going to run severely wide there. That has to be a track limits penalty. And Żelazny opening up the DRS again here in the second DRS zone. He's able to get the gap down to 3/10. And Michalajak has DNF'd coming out of the final corner. We'll see if we can see what happened to him here, as that could potentially be another safety car here. I'm not for sure where the DNF of Michalajak has came from, as it looks like it says he's in the pits, but we're going to jump back here up front on this battle here with Hin Lok and Graxent, as Hin Lok has a major run through the second sector. Oh, and Graxent had to back out of it really hard, and Hin Lok is very lucky not to rear end him, as Hamilton did Verstappen in real life F1. It looks like Graxent is going to lose out big time here, as Debe might be able to have a run on Graxent as well. Oh, and what a spin from Debe there. It looks like he just absolutely hit his brakes, locked him up, and that is going to be detrimental for Debe, as he had such a good run there. Looking here with Graxent in 8th place, 2/10 back. Surely with DRS, he's going to be able to make this pass happen on Hin Lok with one of the longest straights here in F1. And he makes the pass with ease. Hin Lok is going to dive into the slipstream and try to hold on to as much as he can, but it's not close enough. And 29 Balu up here in 3rd place, 6/10 off. He is starting to get into the fray here for 1st place, and he could pose a serious challenge to both Żelazny and RoLoSky. Debe, though, recovering from that spin we saw him have in the stadium section, now up into P, holding on to at least P10. 29 Balu getting a little loose there out of the first thing, so he is going to be backing up here. He is not having a good 2nd sector. His car is just not complying for him at all, and he's going to lose major time on the front two. However, Żelazny is able to keep up with RoLoSky extremely well. Seems it's very tit for tat for these drivers here in the first 2 positions. And if Dżej Dżej was up here, I'm sure it would be an extremely competitive time. Żelazny not getting as great of a run out of the final sector, though, as compared to RoLoSky. RoLoSky having a worse first sector, though. So if Żelazny is going to make a pass, he needs to hold on to it 2nd sector. And as I'm saying that, he's now down to a 1/10 and a half, a 1/10, less than a 1/10, half a 1/10. And he is past RoLoSky, but RoLoSky is right there, not going to let this position go easy. They are side by side. RoLoSky is still right there against him, and it looks like RoLoSky is going to cede the position, but it looks like Żelazny gets a little loose there, so they are still side by side coming through. RoLoSky is going to have to dive into the slipstream, though, and that means Żelazny has finally, after 7+ laps, gotten past RoLoSky. P20, and Żelazny is in the lead where he started. But 2nd sector is going to be where it's all to play for, and we know that Żelazny has a worse run through the stadium section. But it looks like at this moment, Żelazny having the better run through Sector 2. But we're going to jump on board here. It looks like Jack and Tazo are having a very, very tight battle here. You can see Jack is only about a 10th back. Jack getting a slightly worse run out of the 2nd sector, but able to hold his position here. And it looks like he's going to have DRS open. He's looking on the outside, but Tazo is going to try to shut the door. Tazo parks his car on the apex. And you can see behind them, though, Noda getting into the fray as well. And then the desync car of, it looks like Syntax. Yellow flag in Sector 2. It looks like that is Mathix potentially who has spun out. And you can see the drag down the straightaway here. Jack has the DRS on Tazo. He is going to look on the inside. Can he get the pass done? He's gotten the pass done, but Tazo is going to dive right back in the slipstream, and he thought about having a pass up the inside. Didn't have the pass up the inside. RoLoSky on this occasion isn't able to get past the Żelazny either. 21 of 36 laps here into your Mexico Grand Prix, and we've had some very calm but very fun racing here. Żelazny in the lead with RoLoSky only 3/10 back coming into the middle sector here. We're going to jump on board and see how RoLoSky is able to handle this run. It looks like as the track has dried up, it's favored Żelazny and his driving, and it looks like this is what he set up for. RoLoSky looks really strong through the middle sector, but it looks like Żelazny is just a little bit better through there. And it looks like 3rd sector, I still think RoLoSky has the better run. Going around here, half a second the gap. I think this might be close enough for a tight battle into turn 1. DRS open, 5/10. He is going to dive left as Żelazny dives right, trying to break the slipstream. 2/10. 1/10. He's so close to it. If he can keep behind him here through the first couple of chicanes, and it looks like RoLoSky eats the sausage curb a little bit, and that's going to drop him back to 5/10. RoLoSky not able to follow through the first chicane. DRS open though, 5/10, 4.5, 4/10. Just not close enough in that occasion. He had the gap so close, but he wasn't able to hold on to it. Tazo coming through. Still trying to make the pass on Jack. Only half a second there, and then Noda half a second behind. Jack knows that he's defending with everything in him, trying to hold on to this. Following along through the middle sector here, they're looking very strong. Jack getting very swirly there through the second sector, just barely able to see it. And it looks like that may open up the door for Tazo if Tazo is able to hold on to it in the third sector. Jumping on board here, it looks like Bartosz and True Hero are having a very great battle here in the first sector. And it looks like in that occasion, True Hero was the winner, jumping back up front with Żelazny, Balu, and RoLoSky, though. Very close for them going through this first sector. And Tazo and Jack are now duking it out going into the first corner, and it looks like Tazo trying to have the position here, and it looks like that may be detrimental for him as he loses the position on Jack, but Jack gets DRS off of this, and it looks like Noda has DRS as well. Noda is trying to have a pass here. Noda wasn't able to make the pass happen, so Jack holding on to the position here in fourth place, but Jack having to take a time penalty for corner cutting. Jack on soft compound tires, so Jack is starting to have tire degradation be an issue for him here, and it looks like Żelazny there in first place, still running away with it. 8/10 going into the stadium section. Can he hold on to this in the stadium section? Coming through the stadium section, opens up the gap almost a second at the DRS detection line. 9.5/10, 9.8, 1 second. Does he have enough of a gap at the DRS detection line that RoLoSky won't get DRS? He did not. RoLoSky has DRS here. Nobody around them, though. They've opened up a major gap to 29 Balu, and it looks like that may be because 29 Balu had a spin there coming. No, he is in the pits. Sorry. And it looks like Jack is in the pits as well, getting off of his tires. But you can see Tazo and Noda are not done battling it out, as Noda thought about having a peek there on Tazo, but just wasn't close enough to hold on to it there. And you can see Hin Lok as well, only about half a second off of Graxent. Some very, very close battles happening for all of the big points-paying positions. Try saying that 5 times fast. Coming through RoLoSky, half a second off of Żelazny, and still Hin Lok is only 3/10, half a second off of Graxent. The gaps are continuing to close and open as these drivers go through corners. And as one driver gets a little bit better of a run through a corner, the gap opens and goes through. As you can see now, RoLoSky, 8.5/10. He's just not able to keep up here with Żelazny, as Żelazny, it seems, has a little bit better of a dry setup. I don't know if it's setup. I don't know if it's pace. RoLoSky was extremely competitive in the beginning, so I don't know what's causing this change here for RoLoSky to look like he's falling off the pace just a little bit. Żelazny, though, trying to break slipstream as much as humanly possible. Just not close enough. He's closing the gap up to 5/10, but he's going to have a major run through the second or third sector. He's going to have to see Żelazny make a major mistake and him be able to take advantage of it, and it just doesn't look like that's happening yet. Jumping on board with Hin Lok coming down, closing the gap to half a second. Again, these drivers are just getting stuck at about a half a second gap. As I say that, 29 Balu and Dżej Dżej. 29 Balu flies right past Dżej Dżej with no issues. Dżej Dżej trying to have a run on him, but just isn't making it happen there. So it looks like that is going to be 29 Balu's position to keep P8 paying out there. Meanwhile, while Dżej Dżej is battling out for 9th and 8th place, his teammate RoLoSky is still trying to chase down Żelazny for the lead. And again, it is such a close battle here. I don't know. We still have 10 laps to play for here, so it's not over in the slightest. As we saw in the last race, anything crazy could happen. True Hero eating a time penalty ahead of these drivers. Lap cars may start to become an issue here, as we keep seeing, because True Hero and Bartosz are battling up ahead of these drivers. So as they get a little bit faster, it could be interesting to see. 29 Balu setting a 1:17.5, fastest lap of the Grand Prix so far with 10 laps to go. I'm not imagining RoLoSky or Żelazny are going to think about pitting, or Tazo, or Noda, unless they have to. Of course, Noda on hard compound tires, so just about 10 laps to go, and he may have a tire advantage going into the end of the race. just tagging along here, following along, riding with RoLoSky, because I want to see his middle sector and see having to do a major downshift there. Really having to feather the throttle and really be gentle with it. And you can see Żelazny just getting a little bit of a run. Dirty air is not his friend. We'll hop on board with Żelazny the next lap and see how his telemetry looks, since we now have an idea of what RoLoSky's doing there through the middle sector. We'll see what the differences are in the driving style. But 3/10 is now the gap coming out of the final corner here, so this could be RoLoSky's chance to make the pass. As Żelazny dives into the pits there on 13 lap old mediums, and that is going to open up the door. RoLoSky has DRS going down the straight. RoLoSky is going to absolutely push and try to do everything in his power to get past there. Noda is going to assume P3. Tazo is going to assume second place. As Żelazny goes on to a fresh set of softs. What a late call there. What an interesting strategy. As he'll have to make up around 15 seconds. Or he'll have to make up around 20 seconds in order for that to be a strategy that was worth it. As we see here, it looks like he joins out around Crazy Boy and 29 Balu. Is he going to be able to hold on to that position against Crazy Boy? He has the fresh set of softs, but they're a little bit cold, and it looks like Crazy Boy backs out of that there. And Żelazny is going to hold on to P7, Balu in 6th. We have a tight battle in the back of the pack, though, and I want to jump on board with that for just a second, as it's 80 Gamer, Bartosz, and True Hero battling it out big time. And you can see 80 Gamer losing out here. Bartosz going through, and True Hero as well. 80 Gamer now down to P17. So back of the field, still having tight scraps as well. We're going to jump back with 29 Balu, though, going through the middle sector. As Żelazny is coming through as well. Żelazny with the DRS right beside him. Is he going to be able to make a pass here on 29 Balu? Yes, he is. That is going to put Żelazny up into P6. Żelazny with some crazy pace going through here. So it's going to be really interesting to see what he can put together. Looking at ultimate pace, though, Mattey just put in a 1:16.9 fastest lap of the Grand Prix. It looks like he is around half a second up on anyone else, though. Looking here, Balu and Dżej Dżej. Dżej Dżej and Crazy Boy duking it out here. Crazy Boy thought about having a peek up the inside of Dżej Dżej, but did not follow it through. Right behind him, though, is Jack, battling with the Ghost. RoLoSky with a 9-second gap on Tazo. All RoLoSky has to do is just stay comfortable. Hold on to a pace. He's slowly building up that gap, though. Note a half a second behind on Tazo. Eight laps to go here in your Split 1, Season 4, Round 1, Mexico Grand Prix here in FRL. And you can see Noda, 7/10 back on Tazo. Noda is still in the game here. Looking at the penalties, at the moment, as long as he stays close to Tazo, he would be able to secure P2. And he is up 11 places, driver of the day for sure in the running. Dżej Dżej has battled his way back up into 8th place. Hin Lok in 4th place, but 5 seconds down. And Żelazny back into P6, 2.5 seconds off of Graxent. I don't know if pitting for Żelazny was a great option, but it may have been that he didn't have any other option. Middle sector here. You can see these drivers are just slinging the car through. They're still being a little cautious compared to how they would be otherwise. And Noda earning a 3-second time penalty there due to corner cutting in the middle sector. Żelazny is making up serious ground, I just realized. That's impressive from him. Going through, he's now only 0.6 of a second behind on Graxent, who's on 16 lap old medium tires. Looks like Graxent has dove into the pits, though. That's going to open up Żelazny, who needs to make up 1 second on Hin Lok and then be able to make up another 5 seconds on Noda. So it is possible that Żelazny is still in place for podium places. Just a few laps left to go here, and it looks like Crazy Boy and Debe are having a little bit of a duke here, and it looks like Debe and Mattey were looking at each other. Debe diving into the pits, though. It looks like he may have picked up damage. I'm not for sure. RoLoSky, 11 seconds the gap now, and he is having to contend with traffic. Five laps to go here as Tazo comes around, 11 seconds behind. Noda just 0.6 of a second behind him, so it is possible that Noda could get him going down this straightaway. 0.7, 0.6, not going to be close enough, it looks like. Żelazny finally gets past Hin Lok here. It looks like, yep. Żelazny finally gets past Hin Lok here, and that means that Żelazny is up into P4, and he just needs to build 3 seconds on Noda. Or it could be Tazo that he needs to build 3 seconds on, and I'm sure Tazo and Żelazny have some team orders in place, depending on who's where. I think Tazo is trying to play the Checo Perez and slow down Noda as much as humanly possible in order to allow Żelazny to get up. I would not be surprised if that's the plan going through here. As you can see, Tazo doesn't seem slower, but he feels slower going through the middle sector. Sentex retiring from the session. It looks like Sentex has lost it somewhere. And that is going to be a DNF for the Red Bull driver here in round 1. We'll see if we can jump on board with somebody and see exactly what it was that just happened to him there. And it looks like going through. VSC deployed. I'm not for sure where his car was. It was somewhere in the chicane. I'm not for sure how he DNF'd there. Noda is going to be very excited to see this VSC, especially if he can catch a good run on Tazo. Tazo. And it looks like Hin Lok and Jack are going to double stack in the pits. What a great double stack, though, from them, not having to stop any longer than they would need to for a pit stop. And it looks like other than them, nobody's going to try to go into the pits now. As they know there's just a few laps left, even though RoLoSky and Tazo are on a 19-lap all medium tires. They're going to try to hold on to it here. And VSC has ended, and it looks like Noda has closed that gap down to about half a second. Going into the middle sector, this is going to be a great time. And Żelazny is only 1.5 seconds back off of this scrap as well. Depending on how this goes, this could open up everything for Żelazny to get himself back on the podium paying places. Noda 0.2 off going into the stadium section. And Tazo trying to block, I believe. And Żelazny is now just half a second behind his teammate there. And he's going to give his teammate DRS, isn't he? What a power play here from Mercedes. And when DRS opens, both Mercedes drivers now have DRS on Noda, and that means one's going to dive to the outside, the other one's going to follow him along. Is Noda going to lose both positions? Noda parks it on the apex. Inside's going to turn to the outside, and outside's going to turn to the inside, but Noda backs out of it because Żelazny is just slamming the door on him, and that means both Mercedes drivers now have DRS again, and Noda has now lost out on his podium place, which means Mercedes could have a double podium, and Tazo is going to let Żelazny by. And they're now just going to try to run away here. Going through second sector. Just 3 laps to go here. And RoLoSky 10.5-second gap. It's not impossible to make up if RoLoSky were to have some sort of a mistake, but RoLoSky is such a consistent driver that it would be scary if something were to happen right now. It would be just a jaw dropper. But in FRL, we don't count on anything. Gap now down to 10.4 seconds there for Żelazny. And it looks like Noda's only 0.3 off of Tazo. Noda trying to have a dive on the outside, but Tazo just shuts the door. Graxent setting the fastest lap now with a 1:16.5. Only a couple laps left to go, and it looks like AlphaTauri decided to pit to try to get the fastest lap here and rob it off of the other teams in order to get that extra point for the World Championship. But it looks like going through, Noda is not done trying to get himself on the podium there in the Williams. Only a couple laps to go here. Going through the second sector, Noda has this gap down to 0.5 seconds, but it looks like he just doesn't have as good of a run through the second sector. Second sector has seemed to make or break a lot of these drivers so far going through. Gap for RoLoSky and Żelazny is now just 9 seconds. I'm not sure what's changed here, but it looks like that gap has closed by 1.5 seconds in one lap. Not sure if RoLoSky maybe made a mistake out of the final corner, if Żelazny just had a super good run. But jumping here with Noda in 4th place, gap 0.7, 0.6, 0.5. He's really close, and he is swerving all over the straightaway, trying to find any sort of advantage he can on Tazo in order to make that pass. Yeah, 0.3, 0.2, 2.5. He's so close to making this pass. If he can have a good run through the second sector, it would be completely possible for him to make the pass on the straight. Crazy Boy and Hin Lok are battling it out here, and it looks like Hin Lok has just flown right past Crazy Boy there. And that means that Crazy Boy is going to be in 10th place, and Hin Lok finds himself up into P9. Jumping back here with Noda, though, 4.5, and you can see he is flat out going through here. DRS open, Tazo 0.2, and Noda backs out of it, as I'm not sure he's sure what Tazo is doing there. Tazo shut the gap down to 8 seconds now, and it looks like we've had a major spin there in the middle sector. It looks like Insidious is the next victim to the second sector, and look at how close Noda is now going into this front stretch here, onto this next to final lap here, and it looks like Noda 4.5. He is extremely close. DRS open, and you can see just how close he is here. He's going to have a run down 0.2, 2.5, 1.5, 1. He's going to go on the inside, and it looks like Tazo is going to DNF him. Oh, that was... wow. I'm not sure if Tazo just tried to make a late move and wasn't expecting Noda to be there or what happened, but that is Noda's race over. And the stewards are going to have a horrible time with that. And it looks like Insidious has now retired from the session as well. Final lap coming around, and that was insane. I've never seen a move like that. I don't know if Tazo just didn't expect him there or what just happened. Meanwhile, RoLoSky is coming into the stadium section here on this final lap, and that means that RoLoSky is going to secure the win here in the Mexico GP here to kick off Season 4 of FRL here in your first split. Coming around the final corner, and RoLoSky, the championship of Season 3 was his, and he's going to kick off Season 4 with a dominating start. RoLoSky has won the Mexico GP here in FRL Split 1, Round 1. Coming across here, Żelazny into second place. Tazo coming across in P3, but that's going to be a heavily contested P3, as I'm sure that is not going to be anything anyone wanted to see there. Noda had such a run on him down the straight, and we're not sure what happened there. That was... the stewards are going to have a strong look at that. Meanwhile, 29 Balu, the rookie, coming through in P4. A massive crash on the front stretch that we missed somewhere. Dżej Dżej in 5th place. Graxent into P6. Jack in P7. Hin Lok in P8. P9 is Crazy Boy, who is just slammed into the rest of the drivers that are just sitting there. Their cars aren't ghosting, so there's a lot of crazy things happening here. Mattey in 10th place. Mathix in P11 coming around the stadium section. Noda finishing P12 after that. Dżej Dżej finishing P13, True Hero P14, Bartosz P15, Insidious 16th, 80 Gamer 17th, Sentex in 18th with a DNF, Mikolajczak in 19th with a DNF, and then P20. And just look at the cars piled on the start-finish straight. I don't know what happened there. Driver of the day, Mattey, extremely deserved, but what a dramatic and controversial finish here to this split one, round one. Insane. But RoLoSky, again, championship leader, proving why he's the championship leader. Won season 3, decided to come out season 4 swinging, but Żelazny was very competitive there, and if Żelazny had pit a few laps earlier, I'm curious if he could have caught up to him. Mercedes double podium, though. Can't leave that out. Great double podium coming from Mercedes, and Dżej Dżej fighting back into P5. 29 Balu and Alfa Romeo up into P4. Jack and Hin Lok in the Alpha Tauris, P7-8. Graxent in P6. Crazy Boy P9. Mattey in P10. Mattey in P11. Noda 12. Dżej Dżej 13th, True Hero 14th. And then you have Bartosz, Insidious, 80 Gamers, Syntax, Mikolajczak, and Barthez finishing out everything. That was a crazy race. What a time there. I can't get over that last lap though. That last lap is going to be, oh, I cannot. Wow. What a last lap. That's all I can say to that. Anyways, what a dramatic way to end out split one. I don't know how that's going to go down. You'll have to tune in next week to see exactly what the standings are and how the stewards view those final couple of races. That was exciting, and I'm so glad that you've stuck around. If you've stuck around through both Split 2 and Split 1, thank you so much for sticking around. What a way to kick off Season 4 of FRL. Again, 14 races this season. I can't wait to see exactly what happens with the season. Next race is going to be Spa. That should be a fun, exciting track. Anyways, that's going to wrap it up here for FRL. Here on this Sunday. Join us next week, same time, same place, and then we will kick off season or round 2. We'll recap on round 1. I'll fill you in on whatever crazy has happened, and then we'll kick off round 2. Again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.